Hi and welcome. My name is Amanda Jones. Today I'm going to talk to you about contemporary learning theory, theorists, and my personal pedagogical framework. Contemporary learning theory is a holistic view for a contemporary education. Holistic education means we consider the body, mind, spirit, family, and society of every learner. Learning and education are very complex matters, and the future of our students depends on quality teachers being able to impart information and challenge young inquiring minds. Learning happens on 3 different levels. Either independently or combined, these 3 levels can be applied to all learning. Behavioural learning theory focuses on the learning of observable behaviours or responses. A continual process of stimulation and reinforcement encourages the learner to change their behaviour to match the desired response. As long as the desired behaviour is occurring, then learning has occurred. Cognitive learning theory focuses on the thought processes involved in learning. Theorists make a distinction between learning and memory. Learning is viewed as the acquisition of new information. Memory is the ability to recall information that has been previously learned. Social learning theory describes how the environment affects a person's behaviour. This theory is when people learn by observing. Learning can occur without a change in behaviour, and this theory recognises that consequences of behaviour and cognition both play a role in learning. Within each learning level there are 3 dimensions. 1. The cognitive dimension of knowledge and skills. 2. The emotional dimension of feelings and motivation. And 3. The social dimension of communication and cooperation. There are many theorists that I draw upon when teaching, and for the purpose of this presentation I will choose one theorist from each of the 3 learning areas previously mentioned. One theorist that influences my personal pedagogical framework is Benjamin Bloom. Bloom was an American educational psychologist and cognitive theorist who, along with a team of other psychologists, developed a list of educational goals and objectives that are now known as Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is a framework that provides you with a starting point when designing learning opportunities. D.F. Skinner is a behavioural theorist who believed that the best way to understand behaviour is to look at the causes of an action and its consequences. He called this approach operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is based on the theory of changing behaviour by the use of reinforcement which is given after the desired response. By far, the strongest influence on my teaching experience to date has been the theories associated with constructivism. Constructivism works on the idea that learners construct their own understanding and knowledge through experiencing things and reflecting on those experiences. I love designing lessons where the students are able to get their hands dirty and in the process discover something for themselves. I think learning should involve the children rather than them getting bored listening to me ramble on. I feel that in this way the learning stays with them. In constructivism, teachers help students to construct knowledge rather than reproduce a series of facts. To do this, students must ask questions, explore, and assess what they know. Vygotsky's theories stress that social interaction is a fundamental in the development of cognition. He believed that community plays a central role in the process of making meaning. This also supports my own thoughts on holistic learning and peer and cooperative learning. Vygotsky's work with the zone of proximal development focuses on the difference between what a child can achieve independently and what a child can achieve with guidance and encouragement from a skilled partner, in this case the teacher. Here too, mixed ability peer learning can be applied. A constructivist teacher provides tools such as problem-solving and inquiry-based learning activities with which students formulate and test their ideas, draw conclusions and inferences, and pool and convey their knowledge in a collaborative learning environment. Many learning theories overlap, and it is within this overlap that I find the foundations for my own emerging personal pedagogy. While I tend to design most of my teaching around the constructivist approach, I like to draw on other theorists to enhance my lessons. As all good teachers know, not all students learn the same way, and within every lesson there are students with different ability levels that need to be catered for. I am specialising in special education. I chose this as my specialty because I believe that all children have the right to an education and wherever possible, that education should be in a learning environment that involves their peers. During my prac experiences in both mainstream and special education facilities, I have designed my teaching with a strong focus on cooperative learning, also known as peer teaching. Cooperative learning is a teaching method where learners are either paired or grouped together so that students of varying abilities can help each other complete their work. I believe that students learn as much from their peers in the playground as they do from the teacher in the classroom. Special needs students, who often do not have the ability to recognise social cues, are able to experience and practice social interactions and learn socially acceptable behaviour. So what do I need to do to bring my pedagogical approach to the classroom? Firstly, how do I get to know my students? I need to be able to ask questions that allow me to discover what their previous learning experiences are. Secondly, I need to provide a forum for the students to share information about their lives both in and out of the classroom. Next, I need to create a safe learning environment for all students. How do I do that? I will have to encourage the students to treat each other with respect, and I will also encourage the students to ask and answer questions. To encourage participation in my lessons, students also need to understand that I am not always right. Teachers make mistakes too, and students need to feel confident enough to bring them to my attention. So now, how about we take a look at what I know? As a future educator, I know that it will be important to get to know my students and to choose strategies that will suit their skills and abilities. I also know that getting my degree will not be the end of my learning. And I know that learning is a lifelong process for both my students and myself. While I am still developing my personal pedagogical framework, I have decided for the purpose of this presentation to highlight 5 principles which are of great importance to me when designing lessons for my students. I want all students to feel equal and included. I want all students to develop friendships, learn social interaction and self-awareness, and to enjoy being a child. I want all students to know that I have high expectations of their behaviour and effort, both in and out of the classroom. I want all students to know that their interests were put first and that they were the most important thing on my mind when I was planning this lesson. Finally, all students will know that it is my job to prepare them for learning and to enable them to develop strategies to assist with that learning. This is my story so far. Thank you for listening.